Today, we're going to be discussing some of my favorite late round wide receivers that we should be looking to target. These are guys that I think that are being undervalued compared to where I think their upside lands. So let's go ahead and get right into it and not waste any more of your valuable time. And let's start off with Quentin Johnson. Now, this is first round pick for the Chargers, but he's coming off the board at wide receiver 47 or 108th overall. He is 6'3", 208 pounds. If you're not familiar with him, and he's one of the more dynamic wide receivers that we saw come out of this past year's draft. He had a 25% college target share, 13 games last year. He had 60 catches for 1,069 receiving yards and 21% target share last year. But he was 10th in yards per route run. He was 11th in yards after contact per attempt. And he was third in receiving yards per team pass attempt last year. Now, look, when you talk about Quentin Johnson, I think one of the big knocks about him was consistency, right? There was times that he would just completely disappear. But overall, it is hard to deny how special he is in terms of yards after the catch. Like, I think he can really thrive in terms of the slot. I think the big question is where are the targets going to come from this year? Because you still have Mike Williams and Keenan Allen here in this offense. But with Kellen Moore coming over from the Dallas Cowboys, this offense is going to be top five in pass attempts and pace this year. No doubt. That's what Kellen Moore does. He loves to air it out. And there's going to be a lot of targets to go around here in this offense. And I think Quentin Johnson can have a standalone value by himself, even if both Keenan Allen and Mike Williams stay healthy, which is something we haven't seen forever. And so I definitely think there's definitely going to be a path here for him to be the wide receiver two in this offense because these guys just can't seem to stay healthy whether it's Keenan Allen, who's now 31 years old, or Mike Williams, who's always every year seems to miss time because of injuries. And so I love Quentin Johnson at his current cost, as long as he doesn't rise too much. But he has all the physical traits to be an absolute baller at the next level. And I think this is a great spot for him in one of the best offenses in the league, paired with Justin Herbert. So this is kind of something they've been searching for. They've been searching for that another wide receiver. Joshua Palmer was fine last year. But with the aging wide receivers who are injury prone here, there's a lot to like here with Quentin Johnson, and I'm definitely going to be having quite a bit of Quentin Johnson as long as he doesn't go much further than this. So let's keep it moving here, and let's talk about Zay Flowers, another rookie wide receiver, and somebody that I absolutely loved coming out this past year. His short area quickness is absolutely special. He has excellent burst, top end speed. He's electric off the line. He is one of the best, if not the best, route runner in this class. He's right there with Jackson Smith and Jigba in terms of just overall ability as a route runner. He is a little bit on the smaller size at 182 pounds, but he absolutely dominated at Boston College, 46.7% college dominator, which is 93rd percentile. Now, something you'll hear people talk about with him is his 20-year-old breakout age, which is only 63rd percentile, but that's not the end all be all with him. But Zay Flowers is a very exciting prospect here with the Baltimore Ravens. Now, this is an offense that in years past was very run heavy, but that's going to change with Todd Monken as the offensive coordinator. Lamar Jackson's already confirmed it that they are definitely going to be throwing the ball a lot more. Lamar Jackson may not run as much as he has in years past, but Zay Flowers is definitely a nice addition to this offense. This might be the best receiving group that he's ever had with Rashad Bateman. They signed Odell Beckham, and listen, I'm not touching Odell Beckham at all. I think Odell Beckham probably doesn't have a whole lot left in the tank. We're talking about two major knee injuries in his career. I think that he could have somewhat of a small role, but it's like a Julio Jones type situation here with Odell Beckham. I'm not worried about Odell Beckham. I also think Rashad Bateman's also a pretty interesting guy as a little bit of a later round guy as well. But Zay Flowers, I think, brings a lot to the table. It could be a guy who plays a lot in the slot and can really dominate there and see quite a few targets here in this offense. So Zay Flowers, wide receiver 52. I'm about that life. So let's talk about Sky Moore, wide receiver 54, 116th overall. Now, I get it. He did absolutely nothing last year. 22 catches, 250 receiving yards last year. Had 0 touchdowns, didn't catch touchdowns until the Super Bowl, but he was 6th in yards after the catch per reception. He's been drawing heavy praise over the offseason from Pat and Andy Reid. I think there's a very good chance he actually plays the Juju Smith-Schuster role. I've seen some people talk about it's going to be Rashee Rice. I don't think that it's going to be. As much as I like Rashee Rice, and I think he has a decent ceiling, I just don't think it's this year. Andy Reid typically does not really lean on rookie wide receivers. Really, you'd have to go back to like Deshaun Jackson the last time he's actually done so. And so I do think a second year Sky Moore, he's been working all offseason with Patrick Mahomes, and I think that he could really take a pretty big step this year. I know we're typically used to guys breaking out as rookies, but not every player is the same. And it used to be 3 years we would give wide receivers. Now it's just year one, and we cast them aside. But I do like Sky Moore. I definitely think he could play that Juju Smith-Schuster role on the inside in the slot And then you have guys like MVS, Kadarius Toney playing on the outside. So Sky Moore is definitely somebody that I'm gonna be looking to target, especially at cost. It's not going to cost you. Think if he doesn't work out, you can always cut bait. But I do think Sky Moore could take a pretty big step forward this year. Next up, let's talk about Darnell Mooney. Now, listen, I know I've been on Darnell Mooney for a while, and all for good reason, because Darnell Mooney is a really good wide receiver. Last year, he suffered from some injuries. He missed. He only played in 12 games last year, but he's wide receiver 60, 130th overall. There is absolutely no downside and all upside with Darnell Mooney. He had a 25% target share last year. He was 19th in air yards. He was 18th in yards per route run, and he had a 46.1% route win rate, which was 18th most among all wide receivers. He was also 19th in yards per team pass attempt, and he played 40% of snaps from the slot. Now, yes, they added DJ Moore, who I definitely is going to be involved in this offense. Is going to be the wide receiver one, but I think Darnell Mooney is better suited to be a wide receiver two. He is very good in terms of the deep ball. Justin Fields is actually a pretty good deep ball passer, and I think Justin Fields takes a pretty big step forward this year as a thrower. Now they have a much more upgraded offensive line. I think this offensive line is going to be very good this year. But I love Darnell Mooney at his cost. Wide receiver 60. He can be like your wide receiver 5, wide receiver 6. But I definitely think he has some wide receiver 3 type upside here. Next up, let's talk about Jaden Reed, who's somebody that I've really liked coming out as well. Second round pick out of Michigan State. He's currently wide receiver 71, 159th overall. I think there's a lot of potential here. This is going to be something I'm definitely be monitoring in training camp. I think between him and Romeo Doubs, I think could very well be that kind of that number 2 pass catcher. But Romeo Doubs kind of reminds me of Allen Lazard, right? Like, I don't think he's special at anything. I think he'd be a decent wide receiver, but not somebody that's going to be huge for fantasy. Maybe more better real life wide receiver than fantasy wide receiver. But Jaden Reed definitely has some special traits to him as well. Definitely a great slot wide receiver. Short area quickness is definitely there. Run after the catch ability is awesome. He's also played special teams in college, which is also a very good indicator for future success. He had a 35.7% college dominator, which is 73rd percentile. But Jaden Reed, second round pick here, definitely has the inside track to being the slot wide receiver here. Yes, there's some uncertainty with Jordan Love and how this offense is going to look, but Jaden Reed, I think, is in the slot. I think could see somebody that could maybe see 80, 90 targets this year and kind of be that valuable kind of flex type option here in this offense. So I really like Jaden Reed, especially at current cost at wide receiver 71. And I think that, that there's a lot to like here with Jaden Reed. Some other guys I just wanted to mention, some honorable mentions, maybe some guys I could have included in this. Rondell Moore, Josh Downs is another rookie wide receiver out there in Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson, if he can kind of be better as a passer than what people are expecting, I think there's a lot to like there with him, especially when you talk about Michael Pittman. Then it's Alec Pierce, and then there's not a lot left. I mean, you have Jelani Woods, who some people like, but Josh Downs could really be an interesting guy. You have Jonathan Mingo, another rookie wide receiver from Carolina. It's kind of a crowded situation with a bunch of old dudes. Adam Thielen, and then you also have DJ Chark, who's there as well. But Jonathan Mingo has all of the physical traits to be an absolute baller, but he has just very limited raw sample. So I think he's going to take some time, maybe kind of like a Terrace Marshall type situation here. But Jonathan Mingo has all the traits, and if he can put it all together, Jonathan Mingo could be absolute steal for the Carolina Panthers and could also be a steal for your fantasy team. Rashid Shaheed is somebody I actually had on here, but then I had too many guys, so I didn't really want to go too far into it. But everything aligned last year in terms of all of his efficiency metrics. He was top 10 in all the ones we're looking at. Yards per route run, he was very good in last year. And I think there's some sneakiness here with him, especially if Michael Thomas can once again not stay healthy. With Derek Carr better upgraded at quarterback, I think Rashid Shaheed could also be a dude that we definitely could be looking at this year to go alongside with Chris Olave. Then you have Marvin Mims, Tyquan Thornton, and Terrace Marshall are some other guys that we'll definitely be monitoring through training camp, kind of preseason, kind of see how these guys shake out, who certainly have some upside here in their collective offenses. So let me know in the comment section below. Who's some guys you think I missed? Maybe some guys that you are high on in terms of undervalued wide receivers. Listen, we're just getting started here. Training camp is going to kind of equal a lot of this stuff out. Preseason is going to kind of bring some guys to light as well. And we're going to get some answers to some of the tests we've been looking for with some of these guys and how things are going to shake out. So only a week away. I am super excited for training camp. Football is almost back. We're like a month away from preseason football action. So football season's getting close, boys and girls. Hit that like and subscribe button for future content. We'll see you on the next one.